Now, this is real funny. The day after it was reported that Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin did around 350,000 pay-per-view buys, Ryan Garcia is now allegedly leaking out the numbers for his fight with Devin Haney. In a brand new tweet, Ryan Garcia says, "Uck it. Garcia Haney is 400 to 500K, and the numbers overseas was stupid." He says $70, $80 times 400 pay-per-view buys is how much. Now, surprisingly, Tank Davis and Frank Martin, the numbers were reported by an actual boxing reporter, right? And that's Dan Rayfield. So Dan Rayfield is the source who got the word on Gervonta Davis versus Frank Martin numbers and reported them as such. Now Ryan Garcia is claiming that his fight did the numbers a little bit higher. Now, again, listen to what I just said. A boxing reporter is reporting, so the boxing reporter is not part of the promotion. He has nothing to do with Golden Boy, he has nothing to do with PBC outside of covering the whole sport. He's the one that said Gervonta's numbers. Now Ryan Garcia comes out with these alleged numbers for the Haney fight. But here, check it like this. Why did it take so long for the numbers to allegedly come out for Haney Garcia? I don't believe it one bit, because at the end of the day, I've been asking for these numbers since April 20th. And you mean to tell me, out of all the time, we're literally in July right now. We had the first of the month. Get up. Now see, my sister was already there. She gonna run and go get my stairs. Right? The first of the month was just yesterday. And all this time since April 20th, all the things we've been dealing with, the Ostarine, the A sample, the B sample, the commission ruling, at no other point did Ryan Garcia say anything about the numbers. And then reports came out from Steve Kim that it did under about 400,000, right? And the reason Steve Kim is important here is because he has a podcast with Mario Lopez. Mario Lopez has a tequila and is good friends with Oscar De La Hoya. So he's connected to that kind of side of the business. So I don't know who Steve Kim's sources are, but we do know that he actually is aligned with some of the same people. We'll just say that. So for him to have a source on the numbers is not out of the question, because of he, again, is aligned with that side. But why is Ryan Garcia reporting the numbers, but not DAZN, not Golden Boy? If these numbers were true and the fight did 400 to 500K, which Ryan Garcia is saying, right? Then how come DAZN didn't put out any type of paperwork? Oh, the overseas numbers were stupid and all this type of stuff. Ryan Garcia says a lot of stuff. He says things and then he retracts them, right? He said Prime is the devil's drink and all that. Prime came down with the defamation lawsuit and then he switched up. Same thing with Jordan Plant. He said that, to get under Caleb's skin, he brought up Caleb Plant's wife and said that he had relations with her or whatever. And then now he's saying, "I'm sorry, Jordan Plant, for saying those words, but I want to fight your husband." I mean, you could have just said that from the beginning. So I think it's very weird that the fighter is the one announcing the numbers, not coming out with the numbers and then putting out a retweet of a boxing reporter or a media outlet's numbers, because that would make sense. If sometimes when a fight's announced and ESPN ringside will put up a flyer announcing the fight, then the fighter will retweet it. I would understand that. But when is the last time where the fighter, no one had released the numbers, and then the fighter releases the numbers? So again, with Gervonta Davis, those numbers are not coming from Frank Martin. They're not coming from Gervonta Davis. They're not even coming from PBC. They're coming from a boxing reporter who's claiming to have the inside scoop on how well it did. Some people I've seen said that Frank Martin and Tank actually did a little bit better than those reported numbers, right? But it is what it is. I guess it's subjective until one of the companies comes out and actually says, but you guys got to use a little bit of conventional wisdom when it comes to who you're hearing it from. And I think it's weird that from April 20th all the way to July 1st, we didn't hear anything about Haney Garcia numbers outside of Steve Kim saying it underperformed, right? And then Ryan Garcia, literally the day after Tank's numbers come out, then he puts out some tweet and says this number. I haven't seen DAZN retweet it. I went to their page. DAZN hasn't actually posted Ryan's tweet and confirmed this. So I don't believe what Ryan Garcia is saying here because we haven't heard it from anybody else outside of Ryan Garcia. Other questions. See, and this is why I said you got to put your thinking caps on in this boxing game. If these numbers, let's say it did 500K, which is what Ryan Garcia is saying, and he's saying the overseas numbers, they were great. So let's run with that. That's $500,000. In today's society with pirating and illegal streaming, and there's other events on and different things like that. So let's say it did 500K, right? Which is what Ryan's alleging. Why would Oscar De La Hoya do that video bashing Devin Haney? And he was like, Devin, you're pathetic. You accuse my company of not paying you? Bro, you just don't sell. You're not a pay-per-view draw. You can audit my company anytime you want. Because Ryan Garcia, he's the star. But Devin, you're pathetic. Right? That's what Oscar De La Hoya said. I do believe he makes a strong case. Bro, he said that Devin can't sell. He's pathetic. So if he did $500,000 with Ryan, why would he have said that?
Devin Haney, you're pathetic. You're dancing around in the bowling alley because you got your decision reversed. Nobody's gonna forget about that beating you took. Oh, and let's not forget, you're accusing me of not paying you? Bro, you just do not sell. That's the bottom line.
So to me, I think that the Haney Garcia numbers definitely underperform. And here's the kicker. Regardless of what side you believe, even if you believe these numbers to be true, you tell me who won. I see them, they run. You got Gervonta Davis, he's making bread. But Frank Martin, this was his big step up. So he's not making the same type of bread. So from a business perspective, what fight is the real winner and financially sustainable? You got to pay Tank a lot because he's the face of boxing, right? Frank Martin, you don't have to pay a extraordinary amount of money. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to bag on him, but this was his first. He wasn't like a household name. It's not like Canelo Golovkin or Mayweather Canelo or something where it's like big superstars, right? So you can save some money there. It's not like Frank Martin got $20 million and Tank's getting 40 million, you know what I mean? So that's the type of matchup that main event was, right? Versus Ryan Garcia is gonna want a lot of money. Devin Haney is gonna want a lot of money. So to turn in numbers that aren't really, if we're going off of these reported numbers, which I already told you I have my doubts and I explained why. But you mean to tell me that Ryan and Devin, like, because keep in mind that was a title fight too, right? Ryan and Devin had the WBC title. Ryan ran around like a chicken with his head cut off for the whole promotion, saying all types of stuff, speaking in tongues. Like the man was speaking, the man was speaking in tongues to promote the fight and saying this to kids and all this time travel and doing all this weird stuff and drinking. So he did all that to do 50,000 maybe better than Tank versus Frank Martin. And again, Frank Martin, good fighter, hadn't really been in the big productions before, right? Devin had been on pay-per-view before. Ryan had been on pay-per-view before. Frank Martin hadn't. So Tank Davis, you mean to tell me he's doing like 350K, 400K with a non-household name, a guy who's not like Ryan Garcia famous, a good fighter though, and a guy who's never been on pay-per-view versus two guys who have already been on pay-per-view. Ryan Garcia and Tank did over $1 million last year. Devin has the Lomachenko pay-per-view. He has the fight with Prograis pay-per-view and also Ryan Garcia. So that was like his third pay-per-view. So to me, even if the numbers were true for Haney Garcia, which I don't believe, but it's still not good because you have to, the expenditures for that particular main event, they both want a lot of money. And then there's other things. It's just so many questions, people. Do not insult my intelligence. That is the worst thing y'all can do. Why is Devin and Ryan, if they did so great on the pay-per-view side, like Ryan is kind of alleging, then why were they complaining about not being paid? Saying, hey, I haven't got my money. And then Devin Haney is like, me either, if they did so good. So if you did these type of numbers, why are they both crying on social media saying they haven't been paid? None of this stuff makes sense. Therefore, I do not believe that the Haney Garcia numbers were a success. And either way, furthermore, it's still not a success because one fight literally damaged the careers of both fighters, right? Devin, his stuff got damaged just because of the performance and what Ryan did to him in that ring and put the Beats by Garcia headphones on Devin Haney. So his career is in the lowest point it's ever been. And then for Ryan, for a different reason, because he tested positive for Osterine, his career is in a different light and he's now suspended. So even if this was a financial success, which to me, I don't believe that it was, all things considered, the payouts, the purse payouts, and, you know, Ryan's texts and tweets aren't reliable to me because he said he slept with Jordan Plant and George Kambosos' wives and Caleb Plant's wife and all this only to retract. He said that Prime is the devil's drink and they put cyanide in it, but then he drank it live on camera when he was being sued by Logan Paul and company. Why would you drink cyanide? What is this, World War II? Like, it doesn't even make sense. You said they put cyanide in it, but after you were being sued by Logan Paul and Prime, then you, as a pledge of allegiance or whatever, you decided to drink it on camera. Come on, bro. So I don't believe it. It's not coming from a boxer reporter. I think Ryan he's still trying to compete with Tank. Devin is still trying to compete with Tank. And that's what this is. They want to show and say to the world that they're the big stars. But Ryan can't even fight until April of 2025. Tank likely will have another fight this year, and it could be Lomachenko. So if that fight is announced, that is a fight that is going to be successful. Two marquee names that people know in boxing, and even casual fans would know both of those fighters. So I think it'll be another financial hit. These guys could say whatever they want, but Tank is the money man in boxing, and that's how you do a video. Best in the business, and it's not even close.